at what point did you take a bigger role in kind of engineering and watching the initial launch of her 87 the right stuff album and the Comfort Zone album, and how you just really managed to do the impossible, which is like anyone associated with Miss America, it's almost like that would have been a sure shot way to almost like career suicide, but somehow you managed to make her into a household word and an international star. So could you just describe what the
Well,
basic
I
strategy was?
continued I continued to be her publicist for a while. And
So
I
you were just a publicist, never a manager.
no, I was her manager a much longer time than I was her publicist. I was her publicist for less than 6 months, probably, or maybe less than a year. But I was her manager for over 10 years. But what ended up happening was I didn't want to manage her because I had worked with so many other uh, people who either their mother or their husband or different people in the business who were managed by their mother or their husbands or whatever. And I said, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be an appendage to Vanessa as a manager. And I told her that, and I said, but I'll find you a good manager. I'll help you, and I tried to find her a good manager, and everybody said, no. And so finally, she did have a woman by the name of Dolores Robinson, who's a pretty well-respected manager in the business, and they didn't work out. And then one day she just said, well, why don't you just manage me? I come to you for everything anyways. I'm not going to do anything without getting your advice. So why don't you just do it? And I finally, I mean, you don't like to make decisions out of emotional decisions, but I really did it out of love for her because I wanted to see her, I wanted her to be happy. And so I finally committed to it. And I said, look, I want to do it, but the vision is I don't think I can make you a star in Broadway and motion pictures or TV because there's not a lot of parts for Black women. And what we have to do is come up with an identity that you can own. And I think the best way to do that is in the music industry because we can brand you. I can't brand you waiting for the right role to come up, and you can, people know that you can sing. You won so what we have to do is create an identity that is not Miss America because you don't really represent Miss America and you don't really represent the pictures. So they were diametrically opposed. So if we can find music and you give me an opportunity to do that, then I think we can create. And if we fail, then we'll try plan B. But let's try to go the music route and try to brand you and create an identity that you can own, and then we can build. And then hopefully that'll be a caveat and a pathway for you to do film, television, Broadway, and all the other stuff. But then what I didn't realize was that the stigma of what everything that had happened. I mean, everyone turned me down. Bob Krasnow,
Every
Gerald
label,
Busby.
right?
I got turned down by like 8 labels. Clive Calder, I remember he told me, he said, well, I kind of see Vanessa, this is kind of like a page 3, like in the Sun in the UK. Like that's how what people kind of think of her might be. Like maybe she could be a celebrity, but I don't think anybody will ever take her serious as an artist. And he told me that.
She could
And he
sing.
he
She could
finally,
sing.
this is in his office. Me and Vanessa, he said this in front of Vanessa too. And
Thank God for that
so I was
Eckstein
getting
boy.
turned down left and right. But Clive was actually, he sent me a really nice note, and he said, everything you told me you were going to do in that meeting, you did. And I blew it. And I was so happy that
Really?
he owned up to that, because I told him, I said, no, I don't want a demo deal. I want a real deal. We'll make her a legitimate artist. And the guy who really came to the table was Ed Eckstein.
Yep.
And Ed called me at that time. He had just gotten a deal with Wing Records to start Wing Records. And he had one group signed at the time, Tony.
Right.
And so he was just telling me, we were friends, and he said, hey man, I got this new label. So if you got anybody, please run them by me. and he knew that, at this point, Vanessa and I had a relationship. People knew about it and everything. So, at the end of our conversation, I say, hey, I don't have anybody right now. But he said, well, what are you doing with Vanessa? And I said, well, I'm trying to get her a damn record deal, but everyone wants to do a demo. And I don't want to get, demo deals are like purgatory. You
Right.
get a demo deal, then all of a sudden they reject you, then nobody wants to touch you. And I said, I don't want to go that route. So he just said, well, why don't you come here? Let's do it. And I said, really? Are
Wow.
you serious? And he said, yeah, I don't have any money. I don't have any kind of real money, but I can give you some money. So we bartered a little bit. There wasn't a lot of room. I negotiated a little bit more, and that's where we started. And so it was the three of us, and that was the beginning of
Right.
her musical career. And then the rest is history. And I think
Have,
I did have a big role in that first decade of her career and everything that we. The one thing I was disappointed about was we didn't get a chance to do a major tour. And I thought that was
right.
something that I would have loved for her to dedicate and stay more entrenched in the music industry to really launch a major tour while I was still at her helm. And then our relationship started, by this time we had 3 kids,
Right.
and
Have
I don't
you
regret any of the time that we spent together. We were very successful in our run, and she's gone on to do really great things.
I have to ask, have you guys ever forgiven LA and Babyface for giving girlfriend away to Pebbles instead
Yeah,
of
that was a total that was a total money deal. Like Ed and Vanessa, man, they hated them. Yeah, I
yeah.
think you read in the book where I ran into LA and Babyface in the Forum Club. That was
Yeah.
so fucking funny, man. I was cracking up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't have the hate for them. I just didn't like the business ethics that they exercise. And all they had to do was call. It was a money deal, you
Right.
know. And also we didn't have, what a lot of people don't realize is we didn't have a contract with them.
Hmm.
We were doing we were doing a spec deal with them because they brought we wanted them to write original material and write and produce original material for Vanessa
Right.
on her debut album. And they came with 4 songs, and we didn't really like most of the 3 of the songs we didn't feel were right.
Right.
But Girlfriend was one that we thought was interesting. Wasn't really the direction we were thinking, but we said, let's do this song, switch and let Vanessa put her lead vocals on it, and we'll do it as a spec. And if everything goes well, then we'll commit 3 songs for the album.
So there's a version of Girlfriend with her voice on it somewhere in this world.
That's what Pebbles heard. Pebbles came to the
I mean, she
apartment,
does have the stronger voice,
the
Vanessa.
Boy.
Oakwood apartments. Was where LA and Face came
Right.
and they were just trying to, they had just left the group, the deal, and they
Right.
were trying to, they had the Whisper song
Right.
that was a big hit. So they
Rocksteady.
were, yeah, Rocksteady, and so they were just starting off, and came to LA to, mind some business and make money. Try to get some deals, some songwriting production deals. And so what happened was they were at that place, and Pebbles was also starting her first record with MCA. And she came in and heard, I think Vanessa was actually at the place when Pebbles came in. And she heard her voice, a slave of her voice, on that track, on Girlfriend. And then when Vanessa left, she said to LA, I want that song. And then Busby got involved, and her husband had money.
Right.
And
We heard.
so, yeah, so it was a money switch,
We
because we
heard.
didn't have a deal. We were on spec. And so when they got the money, they just didn't have the guts to tell us that they were going to go. And also, in all fairness to them, Vanessa was pregnant,
Oh,
Right.
and
okay.
we were going to have to delay the record.
Kiss
So
of
they weren't
90
going to make
singer's
the
death.
money. And
Right.
and Kenny also thought that it was a more of an urban track, that it wasn't that Pebbles had a better voice. She had a more urban voice than Vanessa.
Yeah,
that
Baby
they-
said that she was Girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard you say that.
Girlfriend. I can hear it.
Uh-huh.
Girlfriend. I can hear it.